Dear students, today in Environmental Issues Part 2, we are going to talk about the water pollution and the noise pollution. Under water pollution, we are going to talk about the introduction to water pollution, sources of water pollution, effects of water pollution, control measures of water pollution, and prevention of water pollution. Quality of water. Water is essential for life and for the health of the environment. As a valuable natural resource, it comprises marine, estuarine, fresh water like the river and the lakes, and the groundwater environments that stretch across the coastal and the inland areas. Here in this table, we can see the differences between the inland, estuarine, and marine waters. In the table, left side is the characteristics and the ecosystems like the inland water, estuarine water, and the marine water. When you take the nature of the water, the inland water is a fresh water, whereas estuarine water is a transitional brackish waters, which is a mix of fresh water and salt water. Marine water is purely salt water. Connection to the ocean is absent in the inland water. There is no direct existing connection to the sea. In the estuarine water, it is present. It is connected to the ocean, either temporarily or permanently. The marine water, normally the connection is present, are part of the open ocean. Marine exchange and or tidal influence. In the inland water, it is absent. In the estuarine water, it is present. In the marine ecosystem, it is present. The level of biodiversity in the inland water, it is lower. In the estuarine ecosystem, it is moderate, whereas in marine ecosystem, it is higher. Water has two dimensions that are closely linked, like the quantity and the quality. Water quality is commonly defined by its physical, chemical, biological, and aesthetic, like the appearance and smell characteristics. A healthy environment is one in which the water quality supports a rich and varied community of organisms and protects the public health. What are the indicators of water quality? The concentration of nitrates, which can cause eutrophication or because of algal blooms. The pH, the turbidity, the temperature, the dissolved oxygen content of the water, and bioindicators. How water pollution occurs? Water pollution occurs when there is a change in the chemical, physical, or biological quality of water that has harmful effects on the living organisms that consume it or live in it. Water pollution adversely affects the water bodies due to the large amounts of natural or man-made materials let into it. When it becomes unfit for its intended use, water is considered polluted. Water pollution occurs when pollutants are discharged directly or indirectly into the water bodies without adequate treatment to remove the harmful compounds. This can include the sewage, wastewater, marine dumping, industrial and radioactive waste in water, oil pollution, underground storage, leakage, global warming, and many more. What are the sources of water pollution? Even though water bodies or sources can be polluted by natural causes, water pollution is usually caused by human activities. There are three main types of sources: point sources, non-point sources, and leaks and spills. Point sources: discharge of pollutants at the specific locations through pipelines or sewers into the water body. Factory effluents, sewage, underground mines, oil wells, oil tankers, and agriculture are the common point sources. Non-point sources: sources that cannot be traced to a single site of discharge, like acid rain, dumping of the plastics in water bodies, agricultural chemical runoff are common. Here in this image, we can see the left side, the non-point sources of water pollution, where the farms, the lawns, and the golf courses discharge fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides into the water. Residential neighborhoods and urban streets can discharge salt on winter roads, oil, grease, and chemicals from urban runoff. Construction sites and deforested and overgrazed land can cause eroded soil into the water. Abundant mines, also point sources, can cause acid drainage. On the right side, you can see the point sources of water pollution. Animal feedlots, also non-point source, and sewage treatment plants discharge nutrients, waste and bacteria into the water. Factories and disposal sites can discharge industrial waste and toxic chemicals. The oil tankers that go in the oceans or the water bodies can cause oil spills into the water. Here you can see the left side image. Above, the point source showing sewage discharge. Below, you can see the image where the non-point source, mainly because of agriculture chemical runoff. Leaks and spills. This occurs mostly due to ship collision, offshore oil rigs, oil leakages and discharges into the sea. Sources of water pollution can also be classified into three ways. They are municipal waste, industrial waste and agricultural waste. The classification is given below. Municipal waste water is from the homes and commercial establishments. This may be treated or untreated. Industrial discharge of the effluents may contain varieties of compounds such as heavy metals like cadmium, chromium, lead and organic and inorganic chemicals containing wastewater, sometimes in toxic concentrations. These discharges can affect the temperatures of the water bodies as well as dissolved oxygen level. Agricultural wastes include fertilizer and pesticide runoff from the agricultural fields, food processing waste, tree and sawdust from the logging operations, and bacteria from sewage or livestock operations. Water pollutants reach the water bodies like rivers, streams, and marine system by precipitation, runoff, and the groundwater by seepage or percolation. What are the effects of water pollution on the ecosystem? Destruction of the ecosystems. Ecosystems, especially aquatic systems, can be severely affected or destroyed by water pollution. Water pollutants affect the existing niches and habitats and the survival of organisms. Soil fertility is affected and the system becomes uninhabitable. In the image on the right side, you can see large number of dead fish because of the pollution of water. Disruption of food chains. Water pollution disrupts the natural food chains as well as food webs. Pollutants such as lead and cadmium are taken up by the primary consumers where they can be lethal or get stored. Later, when these animals are consumed by the secondary consumers, the food chain can get disrupted at any trophic level or result in enhanced concentration of these pollutants, causing biomagnification. Here you can see the biomagnification, the accumulation of pollutants at successive levels of the food chain. The producers can have around 0.04 ppm. Notice how these concentrations increase as you go up the food chain at various trophic levels. First level consumers can have 0.40 ppm. Second level consumers can have 0.23 ppm. The third level consumers can have 2.07 ppm. The fourth level consumers can have 13.8 ppm. Let us consider the example of DDT. DDT in zooplanktons is about 0.04 ppm. DDT in small fishes is about 0.5 ppm. DDT in a large fishes is about 2 ppm and DDT in osprey is about 25 ppm. Hot water from the industries when released into the water bodies affects the aquatic density and diversity. Hot water discharged from the water demanding industries or those industries using water as the cooling purpose cause thermal pollution. Hot water holds less amount of dissolved oxygen than cold water. Warm water speeds up decomposition of the dead marine organisms which requires more oxygen. Encourages solubility of the mineral salt. Anaerobic condition and high salinity level of coastal water render unfavorable conditions for marine life to exist. What are the effects of water pollution on the organisms? Water pollution can be lethal to the aquatic organisms and others that depend on these water bodies. Accidental oil spills from tanker ships can cause substantial environmental damage. Oil spreads on the water surface prevents the entry of light and oxygen into the water. This increases biological oxygen demand and the chemical oxygen demand, resulting in mass death of organisms and degradation of the water quality. It also clogs the fish gills and the feathers of the aquatic birds, The right side image above, you can see the feathers being filled with the oil and the bird is finding difficulty in moving about. In the middle image, you can see the sea turtle being covered with the oil of the ocean, and below you can see the dead fish because of the oil clogging the gills of the fishes. On January 28, 2017, two cargo ships collided off the Ennur coast in Chennai, causing oil to spill into the sea. Due to the wave action and the southern current, the spill spread over to 34 km down south, affecting the coast. Beach sand also got spoiled by the oil sludge. It took more than 1,000 volunteers to clean the oil sludge. In the right side image, you can see the two cargo ships colliding. Below image, you can see the volunteers working to remove the oil sludge from the ocean. Humans and other organisms can get affected by diseases such as hepatitis and typhoid by consuming contaminated water and food. Excess of fluoride in drinking water causes fluorosis. In many poor nations, outbreak of waterborne diseases and epidemics are a result of contaminated water and poor or absence of water treatment processes. Here you can see the diseases caused by water pollution. It is a pictorial depiction of diarrhea, vomiting, typhoid, diphtheria, hepatitis, kidney damage, nerve disorders and skin lesions. Water pollution can cause eutrophication due to nutrient enrichment. This causes algal blooms which affect the quality of water bodies. Red tides, if occur, can be lethal to the aquatic organisms. In the right side image, you can see the algal blooms on the water surface. Control measures of water pollution. Right to clean water is a fundamental right under the Indian Constitution, Article 21. Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, Sections 17 to 40 prohibit the pollution of a stream or well by disposal of polluting matter. The central state pollution control boards have the power to advise the central state government on various matters concerning with the prevention and control of pollution of water. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change MOEFCC is the nodal agency of the central government for planning, promotion, coordination and for overseeing the implementation of India's environmental and forestry policies and programs. You can see in the logo the slogan, "Nature protects if she is protected." Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is for planning, promoting, coordinating and overseeing the implementation of environmental and forestry programs in the country. Main activities: conservation survey of the flora and fauna of India, forests and other wilderness areas, prevention and control of pollution, afforestation and reducing land degradation. It is responsible for administration of the national parks of India. National River Conservation Plan NRCP was enacted in 1995 to improve the quality of water of the rivers, which are the major freshwater resources in our country. This important assignment taken up under the NRCP includes to capture the raw sewage flowing into the river through open drains and divert them for treatment. Here in the images you can see the above image, the polluted water because of the dumping of the urban waste. Below you can see the NCRP work done for the Sabarmati river, which is very clean and passing through the city. Setting up sewage treatment plants for treating the diverted sewage. Construction of low-cost sanitation toilets to prevent open defecation on the river banks. In the image above you can see open defecation on the seashore. Below you can see the construction of sanitation toilets in different parts of India in the villages. Prevention of water pollution to regulate or control of pollutants discharge at the point of generation. Wastewater can be pre-treated by scientific methods before discharge to the municipal treatment sources. Below in the image you can see the water treatment plant. Setting up of sewage treatment plants and effluent treatment plants. You can see the image above on the right side. Regulate or restrict the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, and public awareness and people's involvement is essential. In the image in the middle, you can see the volunteers collecting the waste near the seashore. Below image, you can see the volunteers working on the polluted water body. Control of water pollution. This can be done by separate drainage of sewage, and rainwater should be provided to prevent overflow of sewage with rainwater. Planting trees would reduce pollution by sediments and will also prevent soil erosion. Waste water should be treated by primary and secondary treatment methods to reduce the biological oxygen demand and the chemical oxygen demand levels up to permissible levels of discharge. Industrial effluents and waste must be treated in order to reduce their toxicity. Non-biodegradable waste materials such as plastics should not be dumped in the water bodies. These not only increase the levels of toxins in the water but also choke the aquatic organisms to death. Assessment by CPCB. The number of polluted stretches in India's rivers has increased to 351 from 302 in 2006, and the number of critically polluted stretches where water quality indicators are the poorest has gone up to 45 from 35. The source is from the Hindu, 17 September 2018. Here you can see the polluted river stretches in each state, from Jammu and Kashmir to Tamil Nadu, from the left Gujarat to Nagaland. Case study. Namami Gange National Mission for Clean Ganga program is an integrated conservation mission approved as the flagship program of the Union Government in June 2014 with a budget outlay of 20,000 crores to accomplish the twin objectives of effective abatement of pollution, conservation and rejuvenation of river Ganga. You can see in the image the mission Clean Ganga, where the Ganga has been cleaned. Now let us move on to noise pollution. In this we are going to talk about the introduction, sources of noise pollution, effect of noise pollution, control of noise pollution and the legal protection acts. Sound that is unwanted and undesirable or can disrupt one's quality of life is called as noise. When there is a lot of noise in the environment, it is termed as noise pollution. The intensity of noise is measured in decibels. The threshold of pain is about 120 decibels. World Health Organization WHO has proposed that noise must be recognized as a major threat to human well-being. This is applicable to all living organisms. What are the sources of noise pollution? Vehicle engines, air horns, audio-video systems, trains, low-flying aircrafts, factory machines, sirens, motors, drillers and crushers, compressor machines, crackers, explosives. Modern supersonic transports are the common sources of noise pollution. In the images below, you can see on the left side a market area where the cone speakers are being used. In the middle, you can see the traffic jam where the motor vehicles honk. On the right side, you can see the bursting of the crackers and the children closing their ears. Effect of noise pollution. According to the US EPA, United States Environmental Protection Agency, there are direct links between noise and health. Heart disease, high blood pressure, stress-related illness, sleep disruption, hearing loss or deafness, and productivity loss are the problems related to noise pollution. Increased stress and tension, nervousness, irritability, anxiety, depression and panic attacks, peptic ulcer, severe headache, memory loss. Marine animals are affected by noise pollution from offshore activities and port activities. Firecrackers frighten the animals. Birds are often affected by increased air traffic. Here in this image, you can see the physical manifestations of noise stress, delayed cognitive development in children, psychological triggers for individuals with PTSD, lower threshold for noise resulting in sleep disturbance, elevation of cortisol production, increased heart rate, changes in immune system, anxiety, annoyance, mood shifts, hypertension, myocardial infarction, vasoconstriction, elevated blood pressure levels and elevated adrenaline levels. What are the effects on the animals? Noise can cause serious damage to the wildlife. Ways in which animals are adversely affected by noise pollution includes hearing loss, masking. Masking is the inability to hear important environmental clues and animal signals. Physiological effects such as increase in heart rate, respiratory difficulties and stress. Behavioral effects which could result in abandonment of territory and the loss of ability to reproduce. Ecological effects, it leads to migration of the birds which disturbs the ecosystem. How are we going to control the noise pollution? Planting trees in and around the noise sources is an effective solution for noise pollution as plants are known to absorb noise and bring down the sound levels. Regular servicing and tuning of the automobile engines can effectively reduce the noise pollution by vehicles and machinery. Workers should be provided with ear plugs and ear muffs at work sites that generate high noise levels. Lubrication of machinery and regular servicing minimizes the noise levels. Regulations should be imposed to restrict the usage of loudspeakers in crowded areas and public places. Here, how to curb the noise pollution? For businesses purposes, reduce the source of noise by using silencing devices. For us, how should we curb the noise pollution? Use TV, radio at low volume. Use less horns. Plant more trees. What is the work of the government? Do not allow factories in residential areas. Plant more trees. Now, legal protection. Article 48A and Article 51A of the Constitution of India, Noise Pollution Regulation and Control Rules 2000 and Tamil Nadu State Environment Policy 2017 are some of the legal relief from noise pollution. According to Noise Pollution Regulations and Control Rules 2000, the permissible limit of noise in the areas categorized as commercial is 65 decibels dB during day and 55 decibels during night. The right side image, you can see that the cone speakers should not be used and honking should be avoided regularly near the hospitals and near the schools. So today in Environmental Issues Part 2, we discussed about water pollution and noise pollution. So thank you. Kindly subscribe, like, share and comment to channel Read MedPrep Academy. Kindly register for UG and PG NEET type MCQs in our website www.readmedprepacademy.com. Our Facebook ID is Read MedPrep Academy. Our email is readmedprepacademy@gmail.com. Our Instagram is Read MedPrep Academy. Kindly post your questions in the comment box. We will reply with appropriate answers. To join Read MedPrep Academy, kindly WhatsApp the number given below. Thank you very much.